This video is brought to you by HockeyMonkey.com, the world's largest online hockey retailer, offering all the latest and greatest hockey equipment at everyday low prices. Hey guys, Josh from HockeyReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review of the CCM RBZ Stage 2 hockey stick. Now, just to give you guys some backstory on what the RBZ concept is all about, when the original RBZ stick first released, lots of people went for it, mainly because I think it was well marketed and people were intrigued by the concept. It was a stick designed in collaboration with TaylorMade, which is of course a very popular golf company. It had a unique blade design, and for the most part, CCM was indirectly claiming through their marketing that this stick would make you shoot the puck harder, which is obviously what everybody wants from a stick, which is why so many people bought it. Now, the difference with this review versus a lot of the reviews you may have seen is I'm not basing my impression of the RBZ Stage 2, the evolution of the original RBZ, on the performance of that original stick. I've never used the original RBZ, so my performance impression of the RBZ Stage 2 is based on how this stick performed versus all the other top-end sticks currently on the market from all the other big players, Bauer, Reebok, Easton, whatever other brand, Warrior. So again, please keep in mind that my review is not based off of the original RBZ, which is what I think most of the reviews out there are kind of basing the performance of this stick on. I'm basing it off of the competition, which is what I think is fair and why my opinion of the RBZ Stage 2 may be a little bit different from what you're hearing online, as well as from your buddies who have perhaps also used the original RBZ model. So, in terms of what I use for testing, this is a senior model, 85 flex, right-handed, uncut, and this is a Nugent-Hopkins curves, so pretty much what I normally am used to using, nothing too out of the ordinary, and I felt pretty comfortable with it right off the bat. So with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk about the overall balance and weight of the RBZ Stage 2. It weighs in at 430 grams, which is about average weight for a high-end hockey stick, so it's not going to blow you away when you first pick it up in terms of how light it is. But what really did impress me is the near-perfect balance of this particular stick. It features what CCM calls power swing technology, where essentially the blade is a little bit lighter than average, so it does have kind of a blade-light type of feel in hand. And like I said, the balance is pretty much what I would consider to be near perfect for a high-end hockey stick. So in that regard, if you like something that is very, very well balanced, very easy to maneuver, especially with one hand, you're really, really going to like the feel of the CCM RBZ Stage 2. And one other thing that I found was particularly unique about this stick in regards to the overall construction and balance is that it's not a true one-piece stick. A lot of these big companies are leading us to believe that a true one-piece stick is the best for having an ultra lightweight construction as well as a very well-balanced construction, but this actually features a standard kind of two-piece fuse design like we saw from some of the original one-piece sticks when those first became a thing. So again, even though it's not a true one-piece, it's still very light and still very, very well balanced. So in terms of complaints in this category, I really don't have any. As far as the shaft is concerned, there's nothing too fancy about the RBZ Stage 2. It features very traditional shaft dimensions with rounded corners and straight sidewalls. One thing that I can say about the stick is that it does feel a little bit bigger to me. So if you like that more substantial in-hand feel, you're going to like the feel of the RBZ Stage 2. As far as tapers are concerned, there really isn't much of a taper to this stick whatsoever. So if you're dropping your hands for face-offs a lot, there's really, like I said, no difference in shaft dimension at the bottom of the stick as what you're going to find at the top of the stick. So again, very, very consistent taper on the RBZ Stage 2. And as far as grip coatings are concerned, again, nothing too fancy here whatsoever. I use the grip variation for testing, which is essentially just a rubberized grip coating, completely smooth, no real texture to it whatsoever. Reminded me a lot of Grip Tack from Bauer in that it's pretty grippy, but it's not overly grippy. But if you want something without that grip coating, of course, a clear variation is available, which is essentially just a matte finish. Again, no texturing whatsoever, completely smooth, and really doesn't provide any grip at all. When it comes to the blade of the CCM RBZ Stage 2, I have to say I was very impressed with its performance when it comes to shooting the puck. It really is very, very responsive. But when it comes to puck feel, I really think that this design did not benefit the stick in any way, and I'm going to explain why in just a second. Now, as far as what this blade is all about, it's called the Speed Blade 2, and it's essentially an evolution on what we got from the original CCM RBZ, with the internals being changed ever so slightly. Now, as far as what makes this blade unique, it was designed in collaboration with TaylorMade. You can see the branding right there on the bottom of the shaft. And essentially what they did here is they made a hockey stick blade that is loosely based off of what you might find in the design of a golf club, or a driver I should say in this particular situation, where there's no foam on the inside. It's completely hollow. There's just some reinforcement points, and they want to create that trampoline effect on the face of this blade. And you definitely, like I said, get that sensation when shooting the puck. The way that they've managed this is that they've left the blade completely hollow, and they've made 3 separate kind of support pieces that run through the length of the blade. I'll try and flash an image on screen of the actual design, what the internals look like, but essentially it makes up what they call freak channels, of these pockets of air that are on the inside of the blade. So when you make a hard solid contact with the face of the blade, it's going to flex in a little bit and then pop back out, making for, like I said, that trampoline effect, which is fairly noticeable when you're shooting the puck in kind of a one-timer slap shot type of environment. Now, why this isn't so great when it comes to puck feel: the blade is very stiff, very rigid, and very pingy. It doesn't have much forgiveness to it whatsoever. When the puck hits the face of the blade, it wants to bounce off almost immediately. So when you're receiving passes, there is a noticeable difference in feel when you're using the RBZ versus any other high-end stick out there on the market. It's very, very stiff, very rigid, and for that reason, a little bit difficult to use. Also, because it's so stiff and because there's no foam on the inside, like I said, it lacks that little bit of softness that allows for a nice puck feel to a one-piece composite stick. Because it's so stiff and because there's no foam on the inside, it makes it very difficult to pinpoint where the puck is on your stick unless you're looking directly at the blade itself, which is ideally not what you want to do. You want to keep your head up as much as possible. So normally with a high-end stick, I can tell when the puck is on the toe of my blade, when the puck is on the heel, when the puck is in the middle. And while you can to a certain extent with the RBZ Stage 2, I would say that for the most part, it feels very muffled. It's a very muffled feel, and like I said, it's difficult to pinpoint where the puck is on your stick because of it being so stiff and so rigid. So when it comes to puck feel, honestly, I wasn't impressed with the RBZ Stage 2. It definitely is, in my opinion, not up to par with the other high-end sticks out there on the market. And again, if puck feel isn't a priority to you, you're still going to like the performance of the stick when it comes to shooting, because it is really one of the best blades I've ever used as far as shooting and responsiveness is concerned. But in terms of having a nice, soft feel in hand when stick handling and receiving passes, you're just not going to get that from the RBZ Stage 2. Feels very pingy and very rigid. When it comes to shooting the puck, I think it's pretty undeniable that the CCM RBZ Stage 2 provides a unique experience, truly different from any other high-end stick out there on the market. Starting off with the shaft, it features what CCM calls a custom kick point, which sounds kind of unusual. Normally when you hear kick point, it's a low kick point or a mid kick point, which is kind of the norm for most modern high-end sticks, where essentially the companies kind of tailor the shaft to be stiffer or softer in certain areas to more or less predetermine where the stick is going to flex and how it's going to load, no matter how quickly or how slow, just depending again on the type of stick that they're trying to build. With the custom kick point from CCM, it has a consistent flex profile from top to bottom. So this is an 85 flex stick. It's just as stiff at the top as it's going to be in the middle as it's going to be on the bottom. So essentially, the stick is going to flex depending on where your bottom hand is positioned. Position in the middle, it's going to flex about a foot below that. Position it a little bit lower, it's going to flex a foot below that. So again, your bottom hand is really determining where the stick is going to flex. This is not necessarily new technology though, so please keep that in mind. If you look back at the original one-piece sticks, the Easton Synergies of the world, basically those had consistent flex profiles. Mid-kick and low-kick point sticks weren't really a thing yet. So again, this is not necessarily brand new technology, although CCM is more or less marketing it as new technology. It does work. It's still very competitive in terms of performance versus a mid-kick or a low-kick modified kick point type of stick, I should say. But again, this isn't new technology, so please keep that in mind. A lot of people are being tricked by this little bit of a marketing scheme that CCM has going on. One thing that I did notice in regards to the custom kick point of the RBZ Stage 2 is because it has a consistent flex profile, it feels a little bit stiffer overall, and it isn't quite as easy to load up as something that is going to be intentionally a little bit softer in a certain area of the stick. So I went for an 85 flex stick, which is kind of normally what I use. I kind of switch between 75 and 85 just depending on the stick, and I found the 85 flex on the RBZ Stage 2, like I said, to be particularly stiff and not necessarily easy to load up unless I was really bearing down for a shot. So please keep in mind, if you want something a little bit whippier, you may want to go down in flex. In terms of the blade itself, as I mentioned before, this is of course the Speed Blade 2, the second generation of what we got from the original RBZ. Features your freak channels, no foam whatsoever, and essentially it's supposed to allow the blade to more or less have that trampoline effect on the puck itself. So it's going to absorb the energy and return the energy back out, allowing the puck to pop off your blade very, very quickly, much more quickly than it would on a foam core traditionally designed composite blade. And while I would say that is the case for the most part, I don't think that this is going to increase the power of your shot dramatically to the point where I would say it's an advantage to use a CCM RBZ Stage 2 versus a more traditionally designed hockey stick, or composite hockey stick I should say. When you're taking slap shots, I would say that the trampoline effect definitely is a little bit more noticeable. I did feel like I took slap shots particularly well with the RBZ Stage 2, especially with the stiffer profile and the custom kick point of the stick. It allowed it to load up more efficiently when you are bearing down for those really hard shots. But when you have more of a quicker shooting style like myself, where you're taking mostly snapshots and wrist shots, I didn't find the blade to be quite as responsive as I would have liked. And again, the shaft isn't quite as easy to load up. So I didn't feel like I was benefiting from having a high-end hockey stick all the time with the RBZ Stage 2. But again, this is, in my opinion, really the ultimate slapshot stick. Again, it's not going to make your shot necessarily harder, but it will feel really good. There is a noticeable amount of pop off the stick in comparison to other high-end sticks that I've used. So in that regard, it is very good. And again, if you're taking a lot of one-timers, a lot of slap shots, you're going to love the RBZ Stage 2. Whereas if you're more of a wrist shot, snapshot guy, you may want to go for something a little bit more traditional in terms of how the stick is designed. As far as durability is concerned, there's no real issues at all with the RBZ Stage 2s that I've experienced, other than just some minor paint chips in the graphics, which are purely cosmetic. Like I said, nothing is structurally wrong with this stick after using it for about a month's time now. One thing I was a little bit worried about was this white paint they have covering the entire blade. I thought it was going to chip off really easily, but it's actually surprisingly strong. Not much of it has chipped off whatsoever, and it acts as a nice protective coating for the stick itself. One last thing that I thought I'd mention in regards to durability, even though it really has nothing to do with durability, is that the stick is white. So it is an absolute magnet for black puck marks. So because of that, this stick will not look new for very long. So if you're one of those people that likes to have a very new looking equipment, then getting a white CCM RBZ Stage 2 might not be the best idea. Alright guys, that's it for my review of the CCM RBZ Stage 2, and to me this stick is really a mixed bag. There's some things that are great, there's some things that are not so great. If you're one of those people that likes to take a lot of slap shots and one-timers, you're going to have a blast with the RBZ Stage 2. The speed blade is very responsive, the custom kick point of the shaft is very well suited for when you're bearing down on your shots. But in terms of puck feel, to me, that's the biggest letdown of the stick. While the blade performs great when it comes to shooting, I just don't think that the puck feel that it has to offer is up to par with other high-end sticks at the same price point as the RBZ Stage 2. I guess if puck feel isn't all that important to you and you're more about shooting the puck and having as hard a shot as possible, then again, you're going to like the RBZ Stage 2. It's very apparent that lots of people do like it. But again, if you're looking for optimal puck feel, this is definitely not a good option for you. So that's pretty much it for my review, guys. If you're interested in purchasing one of these for yourself, there will be a buy it now link down below in the description, so be sure to go ahead and check that out. If you have any questions regarding the RBZ Stage 2 or any suggestions for other pieces of equipment you'd like to see reviewed on the channel, be sure to leave those down below in the comments as well. Other than that though, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to support it with a like, subscribe for more reviews on all the latest and greatest hockey gear. You can find my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.